Well, hello there people from the internet. I'm back with some more Escape from Tarkov, and today we're going to be talking about the Mosin. Did the Mosin break the game? You know, I see a lot of people, a lot of chatting about, well, the Mosin kind of ruined the game, there's no more risk, there's no more high risk, high reward, all that sort of stuff. If you're going in geared, you know, you bring in 200,000-300,000 worth of gear into the raid, obviously you're risking a lot more and it's going to take a lot more for you to actually come out with that kind of money. Obviously you'll need to kill a lot of players, you'll need to do all the looting in the world, and hopefully you'll get some good stuff in order for you to come up and cover that kind of loot that you're bringing in. So let's take a look back to where the Mosin was when he first got introduced into the game. It was 16,000, then it got moved to 23, now it's about 26,500, and who knows, it might change depending on when you watch this video. So let's say it's 26,000 for now because it's a round number and it's easier to work with. Then you're going to get yourself a nice little scope to make this even better. By putting a scope on it, you'll probably spend another 10k on it. I think it's 11.5 or something like that. So let's say 10 because it's a round number again. So you're in 26 plus 10, you're at 36, and then you're going to be spending another 50 bullets or 60 or something. That's going to cost you another 10k. So all in all, you're under 50,000 with a Mosin. Now, this has the ability to one-shot players at very long distances. It can two-shot to the body. It goes through armor, it goes through everything, so it's a really good sort of tactical weapon. While it's not going to be the best weapon for you out there to go and rush around with, it's still going to be a good weapon for you to take down even the highest of juggernauts in the game. Most of the discussions I've seen on the forums, most of the discussions I've seen on Discord, it's about the high risk, high reward. Now, when you're risking that kind of money into a raid and you've got something like a Mosin, somebody can take you down at level 1 because you don't really need to level up that much. You can actually buy this pretty early on. Even though you might not be able to get your hands on a scope, you can actually still get the other version of the gun, which is the scope version that you can get for a single battery. Now, batteries are not the most common things out there, but they're not the most rarest things out there either. You can get yourself into interchange, and more or less you'll be able to find at least a battery per raid. You go in with an empty container, you stick that thing in, and then that's it. It doesn't really matter if you make it out alive or you didn't, you still got your primary objective, which is your battery. You come back, you trade at level 1, and you're pretty much good to go on one of the big maps. Woods, interchange, shoreline. A scoped weapon will be able to take down at least a couple of decent targets at range. As long as you take your time and you wait for him to make his move, then it shouldn't really be a problem for you to take down a lot of high sort of value targets, if you want to put it that way. Somebody who's really geared should be an easy way to sort of take him down for you, as long as you've got a scope Mosin and you're in decent enough, good enough position. Now, we'll come back down to the risk, because you're not really risking that much. Let's just say you did pay the 50,000. It's really just 50,000 rubles. All it takes is for you to get into a factory as a scav or any other map. The quickest one, let's say, would be factory. Hop in, pick up a couple of shotguns, and that's it. That's 50,000 that you've made within a couple of minutes, and then you're back doing the same trade, and you're back doing the same thing because you've already got a scope Mosin. So what can they really do? I mean, I'm looking to see a couple of suggestions from you. I've been talking to a couple of people on Discord. What can they do? Should they be raising this to maybe level 2, level 3? It shouldn't be a weapon that you could be acquiring that early on in the game, because it kind of breaks the game when it comes to leveling. There's going to be a lot of people out there, they're going to be doing a lot of grinding, trying to get to level 2, 3, 4 traders just in order to be able to get better weapons and better ammunition. But at the same time, you have somebody, let's say me, that I've not really bothered playing the game that much. I came in, I do my trade, I got the scope Mosin, I'll just sort of bushweight you, and then that's it, you're down. And it's kind of not really fair in a way. So what other ways can they actually do to this? Should they increase the cost of it? Should they make it to a point where it's locked behind some sort of quest? I'm just looking for a couple of suggestions of what you guys think that might actually help to actually get the Mosin into a certain point that is kind of fair for everybody, that you're not seeing everybody rolling around with the Mosin that can 1-2 tap you. I know that's going to sort of die down a little bit. I mean, usually in the first couple of days that you've released the patch, you're going to see a couple of the weapons being introduced in the game, sort of being really popular on the server, so everybody's kind of going to use them. But as I sort of go through and I'm still playing it, I still see and I still hear a lot of Mosin going on, so I don't think that's going to be going away sort of anytime soon, because it's just one of those weapons that you could just do a hell of a lot of damage with. and it just doesn't cost you that much. So it comes down to me being the devil's advocate, if you want to put it that way. I'll look at it from the sort of Hatchet Man perspective, although I still don't understand why there's still a Hatchet Man in the game. There's just always going to be that gear fear, you know. People are always going to be afraid of losing gear, so there's going to run a hatchet, even though there's literally no point for you to do that. Much easier to deal with stuff with a Vepr, with a lot of weapons, shotguns, whatever. They only cost 20-30,000 to buy. They're really cheap. Even pistols, I mean, come in with a Makarov, at least have something rather than come in. A Makarov's like 4,000 or 5,000 or whatever. You can actually even trade it. So you don't really need to come in empty-handed, but we'll move past that. So I will be the devil's advocate for the Hatchet Man, or somebody who doesn't play that much. Let's say you're working 8-9 hours a day, you're coming in, you've got something to eat, you had a shower, you spend some time with your friends, family, kids, whatever you have, and you more or less you're going to have maybe an hour or two at best to come in and game. You're not really going to have the time of the all the time in the world for you to level up and do all the trades and do all the sort of quests and do all that stuff that you need to in order to get your hands on better gear and better equipment. Now, for somebody who doesn't play the game that long and he doesn't really have the time to play it that long, you can't really punish him. I know the gear fear is in the game, and I know a lot of people are going to be using hatchets still to this day because simply you're just afraid to lose gear. But you're always going to have that other guy that doesn't play the game that long and he wants to get something where he can be slightly on par with somebody, let's say, plays the game for 5-6 hours a day. Now, while you might not be able to buy the best scopes, the best weapons, AKs, AS-Vals, VSSs, sniper rifles, what have you, you still need to have a weapon that you'll be able to compete with somebody who plays the game for longer. Now, we all know that leveling takes quite a long time. Skills take forever to level up. It's going to take a long time for you to get stuff done. And with the patching and the wipes coming in every couple of months, you're not really going to get that much done if you're not playing that much. Now, when it comes to somebody who's going to put the time in, play the game, get geared up, get leveled up, max out his traders, do all the quests so you can unlock ammo and everything else, of course he's going to be frustrated because you're going to have somebody sitting in a bush risking almost nothing, waiting for me to go and loot something because I need to pay for the loot that I brought into the game. So if I came in and brought in 200,000-300,000 worth of gear, obviously I need to come out with a lot of gear to pay for that. And it's not going to be really fair and not really cool for me to get anywhere when I've got 3-4 Mosin bushes just waiting for me to actually go for that loot. As soon as I've gone for it, he's lined me up, shot me in the face, took all my gear, and that's my 300,000 gone. In the end, it comes down to what choices do you really have. You don't really have that many choices as somebody that just started the game and is playing at level 1. You don't really know the game that much. Or even if you do know the game that much, it's still going to take time for you to get access to better armor, to helmets, to weapons, to bullets, to do quests, and you're going to do a lot of those things. Personally, I think that one of the easiest ways they could sort of try and do this, we are still in the beta, and we're still testing stuff out, make it easier to level. As long as you're making leveling a bit easier, you're going to have people that will put in the time to play it. While they're not playing that much, they will still be able to level up and unlock traders and unlock certain trades that are available further down the line. By doing that, you're going to be cutting out a lot of the stuff that happens early on, because simply the reason I buy the Mosin is because I don't have the time to play the game and I don't really have that much of a choice, and I'm kind of being forced to play a bit more tactical and a bit more sort of careful with it because I can't really do anything versus somebody who's going to have an AK and is going to spray 30 bullets into me. Sure, I might be able to get a lucky headshot on him, but mostly if I end up running into him, unless I get that lucky headshot, I'm really good at headshotting people with the Mosin, sort of point blank range, is going to spray me down with 30 bullets and that's it, I'm done. So it comes down to that choice that I don't really have too much of a choice, and I'm being forced to buy certain things and certain weapons because I can't really buy anything else. By leveling up and by giving me more choice and more weapons for me to buy from and more options for me to buy from, hopefully this thing will change a little bit, and that way we might actually see sort of different kind of fights, different kind of things happen in the game. I remember instances where before patches, sort of the week or so before the patch and a wipe announced, every single person was running like the highest end of gears, armor, sort of night vision goggles. It was full of loot, full of stuff everywhere. I remember coming out with 6 or 7, or I don't even know how many I carried, M4s in a single raid. So you will have people sort of buying and using that sort of gear if they've been given the choice. I remember a time where they actually lowered the prices. The kind of everything was worth $1 or a ruble. Every single person around was going around with the best gear in the game and just having fun. And it was really fun to get into those engagements where you know the guy is going to have good armor, you know you're going to come out with some cool loot, but you're not really worried about the gear you have because you can just rebuy it again because you've got your traders leveled up. So with that being said, it comes down to them as a developer having to make some hard choices. Some hard decisions need to be made in order to balance this out. While I see the Hatchet Man's point and somebody who doesn't really play that much, doesn't play that long, I also see the point of somebody who's the geared man, let's just call him, and he plays a lot and he's frustrated because he keeps getting one-tapped and he's losing a lot of gear and money and things like that to somebody who doesn't really have that much of a choice, let's just say. That's it for me for today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. I'm looking forward to reading some ideas and suggestions that you may have. And I'll see you in the next one.